Yeah. And apparently it's all kinds of great stuff. I mean, the roads are right. I'm like, you're responsible. I was like, no, she's all good. Road work. But I didn't see that one. Like a highway.
You know, they end up problem yeah, they should either be hiring contractors like what the city did with this.
Right, it is.
Connected. That made everything worse.
They think I made it better. They think I made it better.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Exactly.
But you know, they hired a contractor. They gotta find money. But you know, that's how those things cost.
Yeah.
Grants like CMAC and all that, you know, drive work. But then there's ways like, you know, like what the city's doing, they can kind of grant. That's a big job. They don't know how much. They go $1 million and all kind of utilities. It's probably more than that.
Call the meeting to order. Welcome. Looks like we've got a good crowd, so we'll get started. We'll start out with introductions. My name is Byron Chapman. I'm chairing the meeting today. To my right.
Matt Bullock, I'm CDE and District 5 KYTC.
Tanya Higdon, Central Office Planning.
Tom Hall, KYTC District 5 Planning.
Michael Broder with HUD.
Bernie Bowling, City of St. Matthews.
Ida Colby, Dot.
Bill Derrick, Mayor, City of Jefferson.
John Callahan with Louisville Metro Government.
Felicia Harper with Bullitt County.
Justin Tackett, Floyd County.
Andy Crouch, City of Jeffersonville.
Brian Dixon, Clark County.
Jim Udi, Indot.
Kevin Nuss, Oldham County.
Jim Urban, Oldham County.
Larry Cheney with Kipta.
Ashley Tinius, Kipta. Sarah Bear, Kipta. Amanda Duffridge with Kipta.
David Burton with Kipta.
Mary Lou Hopper with Kipton.
Andy Rush, Kipton.
Nick Bale with Kipta.
Adam Forsyth, Kipta.
Tim Robinson, Jared. Bob Stein, United Consulting.
Megan Bennett, AECOM.
Bobby Campbell with Jacoby Tunes and Lance Engineering.
John Riley, Spencer County.
Heather Claire, Neil Schaefer.
Thomas Witt, KYTC.
Good deal. Welcome, everyone. Let's move into item number 2 is approval of our minutes for June 22nd meeting. Need a motion to approve. Have a second?
Second.
Any additions, corrections? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 3, this is the public comment period. This is the time you'll be able to address this board. Anyone wish to do that at this time? Hearing no one, going to item number 4 is a public meeting report. Ashley, give us update.
Yes, on June 28th, or 29th, I'm sorry, we were with Mary Lou for comments for the transportation survey program at the Shelby Highlands Park Library.
All right, any questions? Item number 5, Horizon 2035 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Mary Lou.
Mr. Chairman, before we go
Yes.
there, want to welcome Mr. Browder from HUD.
Yes.
He's the new field office director, correct?
That's correct.
And welcome to our meeting. Thank you. We're really appreciative of your time. Thank you. And your input in our process. Sorry, Mary Lou.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, I just want to talk to you today about amendments to the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. We were prompted to amend the plan because quite a few project sponsors had requested project changes to that document. Now, these changes were included in your meeting packet. There was a list included. The projects are proposed from Indiana as well as Kentucky. It was a 6-page list that was included. We're not going to go through all of them. I'll hit on a few. In Indiana, the Blackstone Mill Road Phase 2 project in Clarksville, we're adding that as a new project. The Charlestown Road reconstruction in New Albany, we're adding that as a new project to the document, as well as the East Main Street project in New Albany, we're adding that as well. We are deleting some Indiana 60 intersection improvements, those are NDOT projects. Let's see, the Riverside Drive project in Parksville, we're adding as a new project, as well as the Tark-Cross River connectors, which is being added. In Kentucky, we are adding the Dixie BRT Access Improvement Study. This is a Louisville Metro Public Works project. Then we have the Main Street Story Avenue intersection improvement, which is being added to the document. That's Louisville Metro Public Works as well. We have a Patty Lane Sidewalk Safety Improvement Project, which is a J-Town project, and that's being added to the document. The Riverport Circulator Access to Jobs in Southwest Louisville is being added, and this is a TARC project. And another TARC project that's being added is the TARC Comprehensive Operational Analysis. And there's quite a few others on here. Hopefully you've had time to go through and review the list. I'm not going to go through all of them, like I said. Now, in the past, we've always had to conduct a regional emissions analysis to show that with the changes that we make to the document, that we still meet air quality standards for our area. And this time we did not have to do that. And the reason is because we were recently designated as attainment of all the pollutant standards for which designations have been made and for which transportation conformity requirements could apply. I read that because APCD had a problem with one way that I said it, so I'm trying to get it exactly. That one works. So, but all of those applicable standards for which we were designated non-attainment, they've all been revoked. And so therefore, there's no need for us to show conformity of those standards. So the project changes also underwent a public review from June 11th through July 10th at the public libraries, and the information was at the public libraries and on our KIPTA website. And a public open house was held at the Highlands Shelby Park Public Library on June 29th. That's the one that Ashley mentioned a minute ago. But we did not receive any comments on it. I'll answer any questions that you have, and action is requested to approve the amendments.
Okay. Questions, Mary Lou? Yes, ma'am.
I just have comment, Mary Lou, that we need minor corrections to the funding breakdown with COA and long-range plan for TARC, so I brought you here copies and we'll share with you just how the funding is broken between two projects.
Okay, that'd be fine. Thank you.
No changes.
Any other questions? I need a motion then for the approve the amendment of the Horizon 2035 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Do I hear? Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second?
No other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Mary Lou, it does carry.
Thank you.
Item number 6, fiscal year 2018 through fiscal year 2021 Transportation Improvement Program. Mary Lou, you up
Let's
again?
begin. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this time I want to talk to you about the Transportation Improvement Program, which we've developed a new one of these for fiscal year 2018 through fiscal year 2021. As most of you know now, this is a 4-year program of how federal transportation funds will be spent in our urban area. By the way, this document there was a link to this document included in the memo that was in the packet, so hopefully you had a chance to review the document. So like I said, this contains all of the transportation funds, the federal transportation funds that will be spent in our area over the next 4 years. And we're required to update it every, we're required to update it every 4 years, but we like to do it every 2 years. And for the urban area that this encompasses, it includes Clark and Floyd counties and a little bit of Harrison County and then in Indiana, and then in Kentucky it is Bullitt, Oldham, and Jefferson counties, and a little bit of Shelby County there. Now, let's see. So, in developing this, we had to do a couple of things. We consulted with NDOT and KYTC on the projects. We're using we used the KIPTA project management process for the first time to identify the projects using the MPO dedicated funding. project sponsors completed all of the PIFs and got those submitted, and then staff performed the required analyses, including for CMP and the financial analysis. Oops, wrong one. Okay, and as you've heard over the years, the TIP is a subset of the Horizon 2035 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. The transportation plan, that's the document that a few minutes ago that we amended some changes to. So the Metropolitan Transportation Plan is a 20-year program or 20-year plan of the improvements that we want to see in our area over that time period. And the TIP is a 4-year program of how those federal transportation funds will be spent. So the projects that are in the TIP to be spent have to be included in our transportation plan as well. And the TIP document is fiscally constrained. We have only planned for the projects that we have enough money for. So, now there's a lot, hundreds of projects that are in this TIP document. I'll just go over a few of them. In Indiana, we have the Blackston Mill Road Phase 2 project where construction's being added in 2020. We have the Charlestown Road project, and PE is being added in 2020. East Main Street project, PE is being added in 2019. The Riverside Drive project, we have PE in 2020 and right away in 2021. The Blackston Mill Road project, which is Bridge 51, reconstruction or replacement, we have PE in 2020. And then we have the TARC Cross River Connectors, and those are operating funds for that program in 2019, 2020, and 2021. The top projects there, the first 5, I guess, are SCP urban funding, and then that last one, the TARC project, is a CMAQ project that was chosen for funding. Then in Kentucky, we have the Riverport Circulator, which is access to jobs in Southwest Louisville. Operating funds in 2018, 2019, and 2020. Those are CMAQ funds. We have the Dixie BRT Access Improvement Study, which is, the study is being added to 2018, and those are STP urban or SLO funds. And then the TARC Comprehensive Operations Analysis and Strategic Plan, we have that study added in 2018, which is also the SLO funding. And then the Main Street Story Avenue intersection improvement, which we're adding utilities in 2018 and construction in 2021. And those are also SLO funds. So.
Mary Lou, I've got a question.
Sure.
Some of the funds for some of those projects were, I think, in 17, so they wouldn't be reflected in this, is it?
Right, they wouldn't be in that. But if you have a question about one of them, I'll check it for you, and we can make sure that's where it should be.
I just, when I saw the main and story and I saw the utilities, I thought, well, then
Yeah,
we have
I didn't
design
show
too.
17 on there.
Okay,
Right.
thanks.
Okay, so this Transportation Improvement Program also underwent public review along with the Transportation Plan Improvement amendments, and that was from June 11th through July 10th. The information was distributed to all of the libraries in the 5-county area. It was also on the KIPTA website, and we had the open house on June 29th at the Highland Shelby Park Library. But we did not receive any comments on this either. So the TIP is fiscally constrained. There are no issues identified during any consultation that was had and reviews. We requested public comment and did not receive any. So we've gone through everything that needed to be done, and so therefore we have the document, and the TTCC voted to recommend approval at their meeting 2 weeks ago, and so action is requested to approve the draft Transportation Improvement Program, and I will answer any questions that you have.
Questions? Here again, action is required to approve this draft of the Transportation Improvement Program. And as you can see, it's had public chances for public involvement, but no comments through the website and public meetings, so it's been adequately reviewed by all. So I guess I need, at this point, a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
If no other comments, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, like sign, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Item number 7 is the CR 311 US 31 corridor study. Andy?
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right, today I'm going to be presenting a quarter study that we just completed, as in the last few weeks, for a roadway in southern Indiana, County Road 311. County Road 311 is so named because it used to be State Route 311. It's one of the roads that NDOT recently relinquished over the past decade, let's say, 5 to 10 years. And it's now under ownership of the county, of Clark County. And so Brian Dixon came to us probably, year and a half ago, and asking, hey, we need to, this corridor needs some TLC, it needs some of our attention. And so we've initiated a corridor planning study that extended from, I'll show you more in a minute, County Road 311. Where's my map? Just provide some context. County Road 311, so in the southwest, it connects to Floyd County and on into New Albany to the point southwest there. So it extends into Sellersburg. For those of you who don't know, this is exit 9 on I-65 right here. And right here in Sellersburg is where Ivy Tech is located, big community college. It's really grown, and so there's a lot of additional traffic there. Further, this area to the northwest, ripe for development, and really the whole corridor has really changed its character over the last several years. This study did extend beyond County Road 311 and extended to the northeast on US 31 through Sellersburg. So I'll get into it more in a minute, but the character of this road is kind of different from one section to another. A couple of things that really made this corridor unique is some of those things that I just mentioned, is how not only the character of the roadway changes from one area to another, but there are so many jurisdictions involved, okay? So over the years, not only was this roadway relinquished from NDOT to the county, but the towns of Sellersburg and Clarksville have annexed their way up, and so they are bordering virtually the entire road. If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian. So it's the county's road, but it's going through portions of Clarksville and Sellersburg. So I don't want to say those are competing interests, but those are different interests at some points in time. There's also physical complexities to it. Some of these things include, it's just an old state route that has now experienced a lot of suburban growth. This is not unique to our region. It happens in Kentucky, it happens in Indiana. These roads in what were rural areas are now the suburban areas, which have some urban demands. So we put together this process, and we hired HWC Engineering, and their sub-consultant is Shrewsbury Engineering. And they led us on this process, and in fact at the TPC meeting, HWC personnel was the one that gave this presentation. And this is the process they undertook. We looked at the existing conditions. We did have a public meeting where we pursued, and we got the public feedback. And then we came back together to assess both the stakeholders, the group of us, and KIPTA, Clarksville, Sellersburg, NDOT, and others, came back to the table and confirmed kind of what we were hearing from the public and what those needs were. So from the steering committee, and again, this is a group, just like you all in the room here, we looked through what the major issues were. Some of these are pretty standard, safety, congestion, traffic flow. Down the bottom, we have transit and bike and ped. Usually those would be higher. However, for the time being, transit, this area is barely served by transit. There's I believe it's only served by an express route that goes as far as to Ivy Tech. So you can get from Ivy Tech into downtown, but it doesn't really serve the corridor as a whole at this time. Similar, kind of to go along with the former rural nature of the roadway, the bike and ped amenities just are not there for the most part right now. So those are on the list, but there's bigger priorities, I guess, in this case. So you compare that to the public concerns, a lot of similar things, I guess you'd say. Congestion was probably their highest concern. You see that with what they preferred, the addition of right turn lanes, center turn lanes, bus and transit still on there, sidewalks are on there as well too. So those turned into some corridor priorities, and I'll let you look at those for a moment. But those are, just pairing the stakeholder concerns to the community concerns together. HWC in Shrewsbury, I guess this was more Shrewsbury's side of it, they did a pretty thorough manual highway capacity software analysis of many intersections to help inform the study and help inform the process, what intersections are most problematic from a congestion standpoint and from a safety standpoint. And what, again, is not unique to this corridor, but those locations that have the safety issues and safety concerns are also those same locations that have the congestion. And in fact, some of the congestion is causing a number of rear-end collisions even. It's expected that's to be the case. Looked at land use analysis, so that looked at the current trends, and also what's likely to come. Again, that northwest quadrant of that interchange, it's going to look a lot different 10 years from now than it looks now. Who knows what it will be. So again, fairly standard stuff here. The way the improvements were grouped, we took a short-term, long-term approach. And by a couple different ways. We broke it up. We did corridor-wide improvements. What makes the most sense for that entire 3-mile corridor? What makes sense on the smaller level at the specific, what they call character zones? Broke them down short and long-term. What can be done soon? What can be done, more long-term? Unfortunately, or the reality of this, long-term usually means more expensive. So we don't have money for it now. So here are these character zones. I think this is important to note here. So they've broken down into 4 character zones. They're fairly distinct from one another. Character zone 1, so this is nearest to Floyd County in the south and bottom of the page here. It still has that rural character. The lots are big. All the drainage is there's no curb and gutter. It's all more of a rural cross section. Character zone 2 kind of transitions into something that we see throughout the suburbs in our region, perhaps. We've got issues there with driveways that need consolidation, congestion at intersections, maybe necessity of additional turn lane additions. And that's where Ivy Tech is. That's where some of the additional commercial growth will be. And then they've established right in the middle interchange character zone. So this is, I guess, a major impediment to anything along this corridor is I-65. I-65 is certainly a barrier by multiple ways, both from the bike and ped front for sure, and also from just a general connectivity from one side of Sellersburg. Sellersburg's downtown is in this character zone 3 to the portions of Sellersburg that are west of the interstate. And then character zone 3, it's different from the other 2 in that it's kind of like your Main Street USA, really narrow right of way, not a whole lot of space to do a whole lot of improvements. So again, we had some corridor ride strategies. For the most part, what was recommended in this study was to transition over time this roadway almost in its entirety or in its entirety to a 3-lane section, adding that center turn lane that's not there. Also, there's some quick wins, signal retiming type things is what's recommended, and so hopefully those can be pursued very shortly. Here once again is what I mentioned. For the most part, especially in character zone 1 and 2, it looks most like what's on the top left. They labeled something called short-term restriping and then long-term reconstruction. Both of these are 3-lane improvements. However, over a large portion of the corridor, it's thought that the pavement width is there right now for it to be restriped for a large portion of it and do the short-term restriping, and then hopefully ultimately targeting that long-term reconstruction. Something that has some raised medians, some curb and gutter, sidewalks, or some sort of multi-use path, street trees, street furniture, just improved nice intersections that can have a single character, and hopefully the character can be more aligned in each of the zones to one another. So again, we had this corridor improvements, and we had some specific ones. Here's some examples of what's been recommended at intersections. And I think these are mostly recommended at those intersections that are nearest to the interstate, both east and west of the interstate, because this is really a gateway into Sellersburg in both directions. It's a gateway to the county and to Clarksville as well. But to make it a more pleasant environment that can be there, that it may be missing right now. And again, once you get that character aligned, both sides of the interstate, both the County Road 311 side and the US 31 side. Again, 3-lane widening. I mentioned earlier, driveway consolidation. Again, this is true in Clark County, Floyd County, Old County, Bull County, Jefferson County. Driveway consolidation is something that has an improvement on multiple fronts, and things, and the access management approach cannot be recommended strongly enough. This County Road 311 is certainly no exception to that, and they've identified certain opportunities for that.
Did they offer recommendations on how to consolidate that, or just that it was a good idea to do so?
They did. I don't remember exactly how specific they got into which ones. They certainly identified the locations for it, and they offered some guidance on some of the projects that they've certainly worked on in the past, and given some examples on that front. As you all know, this is easier said than done. Much easier said than done. And so, the likelihood that they will all get done, we all know it's not perhaps very high, real high that they'll all get done, but certainly some spots for improvement and some quick wins perhaps that you can get as ownership changes or as you have those opportunities. It's something to pursue. Think about it. And once again, the I-65 interchange is right in the middle of this corridor, and improvement to that interchange is what's thought to be extremely key and something that all the parties were very much interested in. I think there's even an example. Okay, so you can file this one under kind of making the best out of perhaps a not so good situation. Once again, I-65 is that major impediment. It's from east to west. And there's virtually no good way for a pedestrian or bicyclist to get between it now. Even from school, Ivy Tech on one side to downtown Sellersburg on the other side. So they came up with an approach, and the steering committee voiced their support on this, putting the pedestrians down the middle. It's kind of unique. It's been proposed, I guess, at Dixie and Waterson, I guess, as well too. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, but it can get the job done, and there's certainly issues with it, including how do you get them out of there, and of course, some major pedestrian treatments at the first intersection to the east and the west is how you get out of the middle. But it has potential. Again, it's making lemonade out of lemons, I guess here. But it is something to think about, and it's something. There are no other overpasses. There are no other ways to get across the interstate as it is right now. This gets into a little bit. These drawings get into a little bit of what's going on in that character zone 3, which is downtown Sellersburg, kind of that Main Street feel for those of you who aren't familiar with the area. Again, you can see the narrower right-of-way is indicative of that. The issue here too, in that character zone 3, is there's a rock quarry and a cement plant that's just north of this corridor. And so even though this is kind of a main street, it also has a lot of trucks that are rumbling through town too. So again, this does not fix that problem, but that's certainly something that Sellersburg and a lot of our communities are facing too. How do you get that right mix, and how do you accommodate both users? And it's not easy. There's no doubt about it. A good planning study or corridor study certainly includes a presentation of the cost of all these projects. And again, none of these are going to be done overnight, and some of these are going to take quite some time. But this gives the stakeholders at the table a good framework and something to say, here's what these ideas came out of the study, and here's what we want to pursue, in the next few years and perhaps further down the line. Come to the KIPS table even too. So next steps. This is how they envision this kind of going forward. Get some of those quick wins out of the way. Keep the momentum going, I guess you would say, on working as a team and at the steering committee was, and create a single development and design approach. And I think that's key. Make this corridor look like it's one corridor instead of piecemeal from west to east, from Sellersburg to Clark County to Floyd County. Because again, this corridor goes into Floyd County. And then it continues to I-265 into New Albany. So it really touches virtually every, I guess, India other than Jeffersonville. I think it touches all of our southern Indiana communities that we deal with, every single one. That's all I have, and I put my name up here, and Paul Links was the project manager for HWC Engineering. So if you'd like to get in touch with one of us, and if there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to try to answer them today.
Questions? Does it appear that all the players are on board and want to make it a long-range plan as well as a short term?
Yeah, and that was...
With zone interchanges that happens, rely on this plan to be their guide, I guess is.
Yes, I think so, and I think that, again, that was coming into it, this was going to be an issue, and I didn't even mention, the way this study was funded, all the parties chipped in,
Okay.
County chipped in, each of the two towns chipped in, and KIPTA chipped in some of the federal funds, to it, and so, yes, I do believe that's the case, and I hope it is building some positive momentum, because there are other quarters that are kind of like this too, I think, both in Southern Indiana, and to a lesser extent, as well.
The big benefit of something like this is to get an overall idea of what you want the corridor to look like.
Right.
So all of these different entities that are involved can put it into their zoning regulations and
Exactly.
as new development comes in or downtown redevelops. One thing that we discovered during the process was that NDOT's coming in with a major reconstruction of 31 through downtown Sellersburg.
Right.
And if we can accommodate some of these things with that, when they come in, they're not going to do something that would include bike paths and things like that, but you can piggyback those
Sure.
locally, and hopefully everyone working together, we can come up with a better product in the end.
Any question, any other? I guess we need a motion then to recommend the acceptance of this study. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other comments? If not, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Looks like we do accept the study and look forward to its improvements.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 8 is a shift project selection. Mr. Cheney, the main man.
We inundate people with paper first.
You need, is this some of the same, Larry, or is it something?
Yes.
Do we need to hand this out, or are you good?
They are packages of, if you take those that direction. This is Kentucky, so you may not care. Packages, yes.
You take one of each, so
Yeah.
this is one package.
That is a package. This is yours.
Oh, I thought he,
I got one last time. So you on TV?
This is probably more than you want to know about this, but
Picking up bonding? It was about that.
many of you have been involved already
Not over.
with this process, and you understand, I hope, where we are.
Let's bury him now.
This is the final step as far as the MPO is concerned in our involvement in the shift process. Hopefully all of you know what that is at this point, but it's the new process by which the Transportation Cabinet is obtaining our input as an MPO and an area development district in the selection of projects that go into the next 6-year plan. What we started out with, the Transportation Cabinet gave us an opportunity to sponsor projects, and you were involved with that exercise as well back in February and March. We sponsored 51 projects. The Transportation Cabinet, District 5 had the option of 79, I think. 71. 59 of which were actually in the MPO area. So we ended up with 110 projects that we evaluated, that staff evaluated and brought back to the committees. From that list of 110 projects, really, at that point, sponsorship didn't matter because the cabinet put theirs together, we put ours together, and they all went into the big black box in Frankfurt to evaluate and to score. The next step in what I just gave you, there's a list of projects of statewide significance. Well, what the cabinet did at that point from that 110 project list, they selected 31 projects that would be considered in that exercise. And those are projects that are on the NHS, mostly interstate and parkway projects. That the list then, their list is 70 projects for statewide significance. There are 31 of those that are in, 17 of those. No, 31 of those are in the MPO, 31 out of 70 statewide. So one of the discussions that we had as a working group, and I think in this meeting as well, how are we going to look at those bigger projects? How is the urban area going to fare against the rural areas when you start looking at the impacts of these projects? Well, there's the answer. Is we have 31 of the 70 projects statewide. 17 of the top 48 are also MPO projects. So we did very, very well in that part of the analysis. So when those 31 projects were taken off the top, that left 79. So of those 79 projects, the MPO had the opportunity to boost 25% or 20 projects. So we had the opportunity to add 15 points to the quantitative score that came out of that black box. The district office had the same opportunity with a few more projects. But the list that you have there that looks like this, it's a shift at the top, and you'll have a double green column over on the right side. The far right green column is all of the projects that we boosted, that the TTCC recommended that you approve for that 50% boost, 50-point boost. The column left of that is the district office has gone through their exercise as well already. So any project that has both of those columns in green are projects that both the district office and the MPO are proposing to boost. And as you look through that, you'll see 13 out of 20 of our projects that we selected are also being boosted by the Transportation Cabinet. So we have, as a result of that, you can see the scores over to the right. A lot of them are in the 80s, which is going to be a very competitive score when they go to the next phase of this, which is a regional summit, battle, whatever it is, to get funding for projects. The truth of the matter at the end of the day is we might get a handful of these 20 projects. There's not a lot of money to go around. I think everyone knows that. But what we need to do today is, there's another list that looks like this. It's got a red band across it. This is the list that TTCC had to consider a couple of weeks ago. The 20 projects that would be boosted. The ones in red were removed, and on the last page, the ones in green were added. So we removed a widening of Taylorsville Road from Browns Lane out to Hurstman, and we removed a section of Outer Loop from 65 east to Old Shepherdsville Road. The ones that we added were projects that were already underway, the new Loose Streetscape project, and the Kentucky 393 reconstruction in Oldham County. That is the list that is represented on that first sheet, the shift sheet. You can see the 20 projects over on the right side. And our job today is to recommend that for approval so we can boost those projects in the Transportation Cabinet's process and move forward. Does anyone have a question?
Larry, the one you're asking for action on is the one with the pink.
Yes.
Of all the documents here, this is the one that.
Correct.
We're voting.
Except there is a correction on that one that's not reflected on there. When those projects were deleted, I also deleted the two 480 projects. So they're not shown on the sheet. There's a 480 reconstruction of an interchange and a 480 widening from the elementary school out to Valley View Drive. They should be on the list as well. And they were on the original list, the MPO and, that the TTCC and the working group considered. And they are represented on this list as well. So this is correct. But yes, that is what we're looking for action to approve boosting those 20 projects.
Comments? Who wants to make a motion to boost these projects?
Chairman, I make a motion that we accept this list with the changes that Larry just suggested that are omitted from this. And you have to repeat them because I don't remember.
It's the Kentucky 480 interchange in Bullitt County
But he knows them.
and Cedar Grove Road, Kentucky 480 also in Bullitt County. They were on the TTCC list. I just deleted them as we moved into this list.
Okay, we have a motion as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any comments? If not, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Looks like the recommendation goes through, right?
Thank you.
All right. Item number 9, participation plan review. Ashley? You're up again, Joe.
Okay, good. Now it's showing up. Sorry it takes a while sometimes to switch between presentations. I'm here to talk about the 2016 through 2017 KIPTA participation plan review. In the 2014 participation plan that the TPC adopted, we stated that we would review the plan every year and the participation activities that we had each year. So that's what we're going over today. We're just going to talk about what happened in 2016, and at the end of this, I'll ask you to accept the report. There were no changes really, but we'll go over that too. So the measuring tools that we used, we did some GIS analysis from all of the different places that I visited and where we received comments and what those comments pertain to. And we'll go over the Title VI and environmental justice areas that we were in. We'll also talk about the KIPTA website and our social media website, as well as a participation survey that we conducted, asking the community how they felt. So the survey, this is the second year that we did it. It just goes over how people feel about different things that we're doing for participation, and we'll get there in just a moment. So, in 2016, we were over 50 events in the community. We went to some schools and did a couple of community our job fairs. We were at business expos, multiple festivals, community organization groups, and different environmental groups. And this map shows the metropolitan planning counties that are in our MPO, and anything in the tan areas is a Title VI or environmental justice area. So when I zoom in here, you'll see the large circles indicate where we had multiple community outreach events through different parts of the MPO. So, as evidenced by the two previous maps, the majority of our outreach happens in Jefferson County, but we do go to events in other counties, and we're always looking for new ways to reach out and be involved in different communities. This is a breakdown of the comments that we received throughout the year, and the majority of them this year were on bicycle and pedestrian access. The next most popular was street-related issues. A lot of people had complaints about potholes and things of that nature. There were some positive transit-related statements and some that wanted more transit, and then light rail is always popular, so we had 9 rail-related ones. And then the other ones pertain for tolls. Some people had some comments about the tolls, traffic and speeding, or stoplights in their areas. So now we'll talk a little bit about the social media that we have and our online presence. The KIPTA website, the transportation page is always ranked. We have 3 different areas that KIPTA works with. We have our social services, our public administration, and transportation. So the transportation page is always a really popular page. A lot of the people who are going to that page are new visitors, as you can see in the blue right here. And then we do have some returning visitors. And when you go to the transportation page and look at the more itemized analytics, you'll see that the majority of people who are going to the transportation page are looking at traffic studies. That's the most popular thing that people are clicking on when they are on the transportation page. So for Facebook, we had 27 new likes in 2016. Again, in 2015, we had more women than men viewing the page, and that was the same this year. And the interesting thing I think that you're seeing now and this year is that more than half of the posts that people are viewing are on their mobile devices versus their computer desktop. Now that's different for the KIPTA website. You'll see that there's a lot more people accessing the KIPTA website from a laptop or a desktop computer than in a mobile device. But when you look at social media, our Facebook and our Twitter pages, the majority of people who are viewing those are doing so from a mobile device. Twitter, we have 58 new followers this year. The same thing with Facebook, there are more women than men followers, and people who are clicking on things and liking on things on Twitter are more female than male. But the presence has gone up a lot in the Twitter page. I'm not sure why we've gotten more followers this year, but I always welcome that. And if you're not following us on Facebook or Twitter, then please do. Now, this is the second annual community-wide survey that we've done since 2011. Last year was the first one, and then we asked 19 questions. They're just focused on different parts of our transportation planning and activities, trying to find out what people like and don't like and would like to see improved. We had 28 responses. There were 14 from Jefferson County, 0 from Bullitt County, 5 from Oldham County, which is not reflected in this, but there were 5 from Oldham County, 7 from Clark County, and 2 from Floyd County. The demographics that we received, mostly local government. I sent it to everybody on TPC and asked them to share it with other people. So we've got local government, state government, and then citizen is in third place, with a few federal government down at the bottom and some public transit service people also taking the survey for us. I'm happy to report that when we asked if people were aware of KIPTA's regional transportation planning function, it was an overwhelming yes. Only maybe one person said no on that. So the people who took the survey are aware of us, and we're happy that we're doing that well. It shows that the majority of people who are looking at our social media and our website presence are using the website, and then Facebook, and then finally the Twitter page. And we do have the YouTube channel where we post all of the meetings for TPC and TTCC. So that's the end of my report. We don't have any recommendations for changes to the plan. We're asking that you do approve this report on the participation plan, so action is requested.
Actually, question, on the website, Facebook, the comments you're getting, are you getting more comments more than just liking? Are you getting positive feedback, I guess, or feedback, maybe?
There is some positive feedback and there is some negative feedback. Okay. Generally, there are activists in the community who feel more towards like a light rail or a more green aspect of planning, and those people tend to post things on Facebook like, no more streets. They want more green planning, and that's the kind of thing that KYTC probably hears and NDOT probably hears. But when we're posting things in the community, there's other times that we get really positive feedback, but sometimes there are people who will say, "Don't build any more roads." Sure. So,
I just wondered with that type of media compared to go to a meeting and give your comment in public, are you getting more of opinions?
No, I think when we're in the community, people are more, I'm getting more comments when I'm out in the community. Okay. And we sometimes get them through email, but the comments on our social media aren't many. There aren't very many people who comment. They just mostly like things. Okay. You get a lot of likes, and then the comments are kind of far and few between on the social media posts.
I think I heard a motion to approve already. Any other questions? Yeah. Is that a motion or is that a motion? Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any other comments? Not all in favor of the approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 10, fiscal year 2015-18 Transportation Improvement Program. Mary Lou.
There aren't any administrative modifications to report this month, so there's
No actions required, then, is it? Okay. Any other business come before this board? Item number 12, motion to adjourn. I have a motion, I have a second. If you're in favor of adjourning, let's just get up and leave. Thank you.
Yeah, I know.